Are you experiencing fear and anxiety at the present global events? In this video, we will continue our study of the mind. And you will learn where does the fear come from and how you can overcome it. So please stay with me. We will take a look first at the text of the ancient yoga textbook, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I would like to share the screen, if I can get it to work. I hope I can do it now. Here it is. So you can see on the screen, this is a text from the 12th canto, 3rd chapter, and text number 30. And so this is an amazing, amazing text. So you can hear, when there is a predominance of cheating, lying, sloth, sleepiness, violence, depression, lamentation, bewilderment, fear, and poverty, that age is Kali, the age of the mode of ignorance. So this text is in the chapter and in the 12th canto, which actually gives the predictions for the future. And here we have the descriptions of the time in which we are living. And actually, you can probably agree with me that this is really happening just right now, all over the world. We can see this widespread manipulation and false propaganda, so much lying, and on the other hand, so much violence, and people experiencing so much misery, depression, lamenting, people being so bewildered, so confused, and so fearful, and so many people becoming completely poor, like just, yes, becoming like penniless almost. So all these are actually the characteristics of this age in which we live now. But I did not actually pick this verse just to describe to you in which age we live, but I actually wanted to continue our study of the mind. And today I wanted to discover which is that force of nature, that invisible force of nature that is called the mode of ignorance. So before I continue, before I comment on this text and also give you some other quotes, I again would like to invoke auspiciousness and blessings of my spiritual teachers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to my spiritual master who opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was bewildered in the darkness of ignorance. So we can see even from this mantra, from this auspicious mantra, it also indicates that actually we are all covered by this force of material nature. It's darkness. Darkness covers our consciousness and darkness covers our knowledge. Because originally, as a spiritual being, as a soul, we have amazing knowledge, every one of us. But this knowledge is now covered over by this dense darkness, by this material force of ignorance. So we are actually completely bewildered and don't understand anymore who we are, where we are, what is actually our purpose in life, and what is actually really happening. So today, I would like specifically focus on one of the characteristics of the mode of ignorance, and this is fear. Why? Because fear is, especially now in the present time, so widespread. So many people are so fearful and so anxious because of all the events that have been happening for the past 2 years. And it does not look that the future is going to become bright anytime soon. So there is a great danger in the perception of most of the people. And this is probably not wrong, because it is really a very, very dangerous time in which we are living right now. But to be completely fearful, completely anxious, and to the point of being paralyzed, we don't need to go so far. We can actually help ourselves to overcome this fear. And in this class, we will learn exactly this. So I would like to tell you a few more things about this force of nature, the ignorance, the darkness. Every single person is covered by this darkness. Every single person is bound by this ignorance. We are like caught up. It's like the mode of nature. It's like it is like a rope which like binds us, and we become conditioned. Conditioned, with other word, actually means that our mind is programmed. And just like we have been all programmed during these 2 years about this virus, how dangerous it is, and all these things about the virus, at the same time, we are also programmed by this darkness into believing so many things which are not necessarily the truth. But because we are absorbed into this energy, into this kind of information, our mind gets programmed in this way. And I would like to actually now go to another quote, also from Srimad Bhagavatam, this amazing yoga textbook, which gives the definition of fear. So please listen attentively, because this is very important. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, text number 37. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of the absorption in the material, external, illusory energy of the Lord. So this gives us actually a lot of insight in what is the source of fear. Again, if I ask you, why are you afraid? You will probably tell me, I'm afraid that there will be war, because there is a war already in Europe and it may spread to other countries. I'm afraid that there will be another disease coming. I'm afraid that I will be poverty stricken. I'm afraid of so many things that can really happen according to the circumstances at present in the world. But these are all the external circumstances. The real reason for the emotion of fear, it's not really coming from the outside source, from the external source. The real reason, again, is coming from the inside, from our internal state of mind. and from the state of our consciousness. Just like yesterday, we were discussing the influence of the force of passion, the mode of passion, how this mode creates such intense emotions in us. And I was explaining to you, even giving you a story, that actually our reaction, intense emotional reaction, does not really depend so much on the external circumstance, but on our internal situation. So the same is here with fear. So what does this mean, what I just read? That fear arises when we misidentify ourselves as a material body because we are completely absorbed into the illusory energy, into the external energy. So this basically means, this is basically the situation for practically 99.99% of the population in this world. Practically almost every one of us is completely absorbed, in the world around us, and in the pleasures and displeasures that we are experiencing within this body. So this is our whole world practically, and we are totally absorbed in this. But this is actually the source of fear. Why? Because our body, material body, and also the subtle body of the mind, intelligence, and ego are products of this material energy, and as well the world around us is also a product of material energy. And when we absorb our consciousness into this energy will overpower our consciousness, cover it over, and infuse fear and anxiety. This is the real reason. And I will not give you a story here, because a story is actually our story, my story and your story, the story that is unveiling in front of us for the past 2 years. And it is still on the roll, and we don't know what will happen. And it actually manifests all these qualities that I just read in this textbook in the very beginning. So I'll stop sharing now. So now we come to the to the most important part actually of this class, because what is the use of exposing the problem if there is no solution? There is the solution. Each and every one can become free from fear. You see, one thing is the danger, but another thing is to be completely anxious and to completely fearful. We may perceive the danger and prepare for the danger, but we don't need to become so fearful. And actually, another text from Srimad Bhagavatam, which I would like to refer to you, is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 25, verse 16. And it reads like this: when consciousness becomes clear and the senses are detached from matter, one experiences fearlessness within the material body and detachment from the material mind. You should understand this situation to be the predominance of the mode of goodness, in which one has the opportunity to realize me. So this text is actually explaining us that in order to become free from fear, we have to rise our consciousness. We have to purify our consciousness from this lower mode of ignorance, from this lower force of material nature, which is called ignorance. And when we rise our consciousness to the level of the mode of goodness, then we can actually experience fearlessness. fearlessness. And there are also amazing other characteristics here. We also experience detachment from the mind. The mind usually is giving us so much trouble, all this chatter all the time, and all these negative thoughts coming all the time, disturbing ideas coming all the time, negative emotions bothering us. So when our consciousness has risen to a higher level, to the level of at least mode of goodness, then one actually experience satisfaction within the mind, really satisfaction and happiness. Satisfaction and happiness are possible to achieve only when we rise our consciousness to this higher level of the mode of goodness. So now, of course, you may wondering how to do this. But before I will tell you the final steps how to do this, I want to give an example of a completely fearless person and tell you a story. And this is a story of a little child. He was only 5 years old. And his name is Prahlad, Prince Prahlad. This is a true story. It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prahlad was the son of a great king, a great ruler. His name was Hiranyakashipu. He was very, very powerful, but also demoniac by nature. He wasn't a good person. He actually went to perform very severe austerities of meditation just to gain immortality and to gain special mystic powers. He wasn't able to gain immortality, but he certainly got mystic powers. So he became so powerful that he conquered the entire universe. Everyone in the universe was under his control. And believe me, those people and other living beings did not have a happy life because he was demoniac. And he was killing people, torturing people, exploiting people. And everybody was really just waiting for the time when he will also meet his end. But I will not tell you all the story. I just want to give you one short episode from this story. And this is about his own little son. You see, people who are demoniac, they actually don't even consider hurting their own family members, even up to their own children. So because Prince Prahlad was very spiritual, and he was actually very devoted soul, he was actually spiritually extremely advanced, and he was a lover of God. And he had beautiful, beautiful qualities. But this was not desirable by his father. When his father learned about whom his little son was worshiping, he became enraged because he considered God to be his greatest enemy. And actually, he wanted to kill him. So you can see here, it's a little bit, it shows that it wasn't, his intelligence wasn't really clear, because actually God cannot be killed, but he thought that he can kill God because he thought that he is the most powerful. So he tried to reform his little child in many different ways through his teachers, through the teachers who were educating his son. But unfortunately, the teachers were not able to do so. And at the end, the little boy in the school he actually taught this spiritual knowledge to all his classmates. So he spoiled all these demoniac children and taught them the real spiritual truth. So then when he came back to his father, and father asked him, so what did you learn? What was the most important that you learned in your school? He told him that the most important thing which he learned in school was how to love God and how to serve God in so many different ways. And at that point, Hiranyakashipu just threw him on the ground. And then he tried to kill him in so many ways. This is the historically one of the ancient child abuses. So it's not happening just now. It has happened already in the past. So what did he do? He threw this, not him personally, but he had him be thrown under the feet of a wild elephant. Then nothing happened to him. Then he threw him in a big hole in which was full of snakes, which were actually poisonous. But nothing happened to Prahlad. Then he had him put into a huge pot of boiling oil, but nothing happened to Prahlad. He had him thrown from the cliff down, but Prahlad Maharaj actually fell on the, he was actually saved. So it was as if he would fall on the soft cotton. So nothing happened to him. In this and in many other ways, he tried to kill him. And what was actually happening in the consciousness of Prahlad? Prahlad's consciousness was completely saturated with his deep spiritual loving connection with his beloved Lord. He was completely absorbed in his meditation. So much so that everything that was happening around him, he hardly even noticed what was happening. And because of this absorption and because of this complete dedication, he had this amazing protection by the Supreme. He was actually personally protected by God, personally protected. So of course, we are not on the level of Prahlad, but Prahlad still gives us the example. What is the difference between Prahlad and us? We are fearful because we are completely absorbed in our material body, in our selfish desires and needs, in our little life, and how we will achieve our little pleasure and happiness in this world. But Prahlad was absorbed in the spiritual reality. He connected his consciousness with the supreme consciousness, with the divine consciousness. And in this way, he actually attained the level not only of the mode of goodness, but even beyond. He attained the level of transcendental consciousness, completely spiritual consciousness. So we may not be able to achieve that immediately, but at least we can endeavor to achieve the state of consciousness in the mode of goodness. So now I need to give you the secret. How can we actually uncover this darkness from our consciousness? How can be this fear dissipated, removed? How can it dissolve? Again, we have to connect our consciousness with the spiritual realm. And for this, the most important activity is to hear the transcendental sound vibration. The transcendental sound vibration comes in the form of a mantra. So we can repeat the transcendental mantra, or we can hear the literature, which is full of different kinds of spiritual mantras, which is full of spiritual knowledge connected with the supreme absolute truth. And one such book is certainly the Bhagavad Gita. And for one who absorbs his mind and his intelligence in the book like Bhagavad Gita as it is, fear dissipates, guaranteed. If you get this book, and I will put into the description box the link of how you can hear it online for free, and how you can get your hard copy of this book. And if you will practice this, then I guarantee you that you will start experiencing less and less fear and anxiety proportionately with your attention towards this subject matter. And the mantra that you need to chant every day is the mantra which is called the Maha mantra, the greatest mantra. There are many, many mantras in this world. Some are spiritual, some are material. The ancient times give us many, many different mantras for different purposes. But the highest of all, the highest mantra, which gives the highest result, which is recovering our true spiritual identity, and again reawakening, this is the right word, and reawakening the dormant love of God within our heart. So this is the mantra which is called the Maha mantra. And many people have heard about the Hare Krishna mantra. So I will speak more about this mantra in one of the future classes. So if you're interested into how to chant and how to practice this meditation, so please stick with me, and there will be more classes also on this topic. So I will see you soon.